2. Oh, that's loud.
All right, ready?
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing louder, louder, louder. 1 2 3 4 5 6.
All good. Yeah. Testing 1 2 1 2.
All good here? Yep.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Good afternoon and welcome to the final game of round 25 of the Senol NPL Victoria men's season. It's an absolute blockbuster here at Lakeside Stadium. Two of Victoria's traditional rivals going head-to-head in a game with so much on the line for these two sides. The host South Melbourne can take a big step towards locking in a home final tonight and still look to chase down third place Avondale, while their opponents Heidelberg looking to turn around a 9-game winless run and get themselves back inside the top 6 and get themselves right in the mix for finals football and to keep their championship defence alive. My name is Nick Dabano and I'm joined here today by Mark Ivkovic. Mark, it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon for football and a massive game to round out what has already been a huge weekend of action.
Yeah, spot on, Nick. Absolutely massive game this afternoon. Forget about South Melbourne, really. The whole focus is on Heidelberg. Given a second chance yesterday by Hume City's late winner against George Cross. So Heidelberg's destiny is still in their hands. So, forget about the way putting in a pretty performance. They need to roll their sleeves up this afternoon and just grind out 3 points.
Heidelberg's last win in the league coming all the way back in May. It's been a difficult run for them coming into today off the back of some real disheartening results, losing in the Doherty Cup final against Preston, knocked out of the Australia Cup on penalties against North Sunshine, and losing 5-4 at home against Hume City last week. Their opponents, South Melbourne, they have made 6 changes today. Obviously, they play against Preston in the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup on Wednesday and may have one eye ahead to that one. Among the changes today is the returning Jordan Lampard, back from injury for the first time since the match against Dandy City last month. He's joined by Richard Nkomo, James Lackey, Aaron Cox, Alex Menelau, who's also back in the team today, and Matthew Di Lorenzo. Out of the starting lineup is Marko Jankovic, David Yu, Yuki Achida, Thomas Giannakopoulos, Jack Painter-Andrews, and Sebastian Pasquale, who is out suspended. All those players out of the squad entirely, including Paulo Retre as well. And joining them in that starting lineup is Javi Lopez, Hassan Ramazani, Bull Juarch, playing against his former side, Jordan Swibble and Andrew Mezzaruni. Max Mikla as well, back on the bench for South Melbourne, a big boost for them. Johnny Anastasiadis has stuck with the same 11 that went down against Hume City. Yaron Souza in goals with Ryan Lethlean, Anthony Lesiotis, Tas Mudakudis, Marcus Humbert, Kieran Bramwell, Asahi Yokokawa, Tabena Rabani, Kane Razmovsky, Jay McGowan and Max Macedo making up the starting 11. Still no Ben Collins in the squad today, but Choctaw returns from injury. Out goes Joseph Lee for the visiting Heidelberg. So a bit of a boost there for the Burgers attacking core with the return of Dow. They are desperate for a result today. Results have gone their way already this weekend. George Cross going down against Hume in a thriller. A win for them will put themselves back inside the top 6 going into the final day. South Melbourne win today, but is short of a home final. But also on top of that, keeps them in the mix for third place, looking to chase down Avondale. It's McGowan looking to get involved early. Here's Kieran Bramwell, and he flashes that effort over the bar. Good early intent there from the Burgers, and Bramwell getting himself in a good position to add to his 6 goals this season.
Yeah, good start on the front foot straight away, winning that ball from the kickoff as well. Look, the positives that Heidelberg can take out of that very disappointing loss last week is the fact that they scored 4 goals, a team that has really struggled to score in this second half of the season. If they can tighten things up at the back, which they should be able to, Johnny Anastasiadis has been very organised defensively.
Well, here's Bull Juarch looking to get involved early. It's a tallying ball in towards Swibble. Just couldn't get on the end of it. And Bull Juarch playing against his former team for the first time today, getting involved early, and that was a delightful cross-in. But Swibble was just a step behind and not able to get on the end of that one.
That would have been the ultimate commentator's curse had they scored from there. Just talking about tightening up their defence. It's pretty easy to just split that open.
Well, we haven't even played 90 seconds and both teams have threatened at either end. If that is a sign of what's to come today, we could be in for a very entertaining contest here. Ramazani wins the header. Big collision there in the middle of the park, and he wins the free kick. Big return today for South Melbourne. Jordan Lampard, of course, very key player for South Melbourne, getting him back just in time for finals as well as that Australia Cup quarter-final. It's interesting to see, Mark, as well, the setup defensively, because Hassan Ramazani is the only, I guess, out-and-out centre-back in the starting lineup today.
Yeah, interesting to see how they defend deep like that. With the Menelao maybe drops in.
Some of those players missing. No Marko Jankovic, Tom Yanakopoulos, Jacob Eliopoulos as well is still missing. So Ramazani, the only noted starting centre-back in that 11. Here's Cox looking to make something happen early. Mezzaruni wasn't able to get on the end of it. Now Basetto can kickstart the counter-attack back the other way. Lesiotis, well played there by Mezzaruni, but Lesiotis will get another crack at it. It's a good ball in towards Bramwell. Able to bring it down, but in the end Lampard was there to mop up. Now Buljuarch looking to kickstart another attack here for South Melbourne. Isolated with Mutakudis on that far side. Buljuarch retreats. Cox. A few step overs there on that left-hand side. It's a delightful ball in. And it's flashed across the face of goal. And South Melbourne again causing this Heidelberg defence some early problems.
It's a great ball across the face by getting it virtually out of reach for Yaron Souza. James Lackey probably just started his run way too early.
Heidelberg looking to write some happier memories here at this venue from their last few visits. Of course, they did win the NPL Victoria Grand Final here last year, but was Championship semi-final defeat here against South Melbourne, Australia Cup final defeat against the Newcastle Jets, and of course a couple of weeks ago in that Doherty Cup final loss against Preston where they did lead, courtesy of Nico Duarte, but went on to lose 3-1 against their arch rivals. Di Lorenzo going to get involved early, the youngster. Big opportunity for Matthew Di Lorenzo today to try and impress Nishika Hadzic on the eve of finals. A very tough team to break into. Yokokawa out towards Abani. Lesiotis. As you mentioned, Ivka, the silver lining out of last week was they did score 4, but they did concede 5, unfortunately. And it's a game for Heidelberg where they led not once, not twice, but 3 times. They did have a 2-goal lead in that game as well in the second half, but it all just fell apart for them. And it just feels like right now, going into this game, when it rains, it pours for the Burgers. Need to turn it around this afternoon as Humbert getting forward down that right-hand side. But yeah, just going back to that game, Ivka, it just capped off what has been a horror week for Heidelberg on the field.
Yeah, it was probably the way how quickly they conceded those goals after taking the lead as well. Twice, it was virtually a minute after they had scored. And you could see that they were trying to really motivate themselves to switch on, don't concede, and then to concede within a minute twice would have really affected them mentally. So far, so good, though, in this opening 5 or so minutes, though.
We're getting another chance here from the free kick. It's Razmovsky who went to ground.
In the last couple of weeks, they've been good from set pieces, Heidelberg. One of those awkward positions on the edge of the box, out wide. It's hard to get the right delivery from that kind of area.
Flynn and Mutakudis up from the back for a bit of extra support inside the box. It'll be Yokokawa on set-piece duties. Scored a brilliant goal last week against Hume. Looking to turn provider here, perhaps. Plays on the deck to Lesiotis. Back to Yokokawa. Good touch towards the byline, and he plays it in towards Bramwell. It's nodded away. Lesiotis brings it under his spell. He has a go, and wide of the mark there in the end. Did it take a deflection? No, it didn't. It's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, you just had to get rid of it, Lesiotis. Couldn't afford to turn the ball over in that area.
Just looking at this South Melbourne team today, for a big opportunity for some of these players as well today to stamp their claim in the South Melbourne side going into finals. The likes of Alex Menelao and James Lackey, Matthew Di Lorenzo. We've seen Aaron Cox in and out of the team at times. But a real big opportunity for them to create a selection headache for Sinisa Kahadzic going into finals.
More so for Geordie Swibble and Bull Jawach as well.
Yep.
I don't think he's really settled on who is that main striker. We're probably leaning towards Jawach the last couple of weeks, but a good performance today by Swibble, and he could be back as the number one striker for him.
Well, this is the second game in a row they've gone 2 up top, so is this perhaps just putting them both out there and seeing how maybe if they could play together, if that's something they go towards in finals, or just seeing perhaps if they do change system that they do go with one or the other?
Yeah, very similar to last week, the 3 at the back and 2 up top, really just trying to suffocate their opponent. And last week, that first half against Melbourne City was one of the most impressive 45 minutes of the season from any team. It's totally dominated them. It's real front foot footy, as you like to say, Nick. You know, just really getting in your opponent's face, giving them no room, because they've got numbers everywhere. In the midfield, they've got big numbers, and then when they do need to defend, players drop back. You can see Menelaus dropping next to Ramazani when they actually have to defend. But when they're on the ball, they've got a lot of numbers across the park.
Goa's pass is intercepted. Shade into the path there of McGowan. Asmovsky immediately under the pump there from Aaron Cox. He's turned it over. Beautiful day here. You can sense that only a couple of weeks of winter left. Know that though, once the sun sets here at Lakeside Stadium, that everyone here in attendance is going to feel the full brunt of the Melbourne winter.
Unless we can enjoy it for the first half.
Absolutely.
It's just hard to think that we're at round 25. The season has flown by.
Absolutely.
And that's where that pressure will be on Heidelberg. You know, I'm sure the players probably think that too, like, geez, we've only got 2 games left here to try and get ourselves back into the top 6. Time is running out.
Well, the one thing about finals football, as we've learnt in years gone by, particularly last season, you just got to be in it to win it. And Dandy City showed that even if you do finish 6th, the possibilities are endless if you can go on a run at the right time, which would give not only Heidelberg, but sides all chasing the top 6. Dandy City again still in the mix this year, and Caroline Springs, George Cross the other. Bramwell feeds it through to Humbert. George Cross at the moment in 6th, but lost yesterday 3-2 against Hume City. Another thriller. Hume again 2 weeks in a row playing, you could say, the game of the round. Just helped them lock in a top 2 spot. So they'll get the week off after next week's final day where they do play Avondale. It was looking like that game was shaping up as winning your second, but now with Hume's result yesterday, it means that Avondale can only finish as high as 3rd. Basetto dropping in centrally, looking to feed through Kieran Bramwell. It's not a bad ball in behind, and Lopez did well coming off his line and clears it away.
Hesitated for a second there, Lopez. I don't think he knew if the ball was going to travel far enough. Managed to get there in the end. That's where they can pick them apart, Heidelberg. Obviously, with the way they've set up, with Menelau dropping in later to help out Ramazani in defence. If you can get that quick release through those gaps that are there, could see Bramwell played in behind.
Left lane, Abani, good touch centrally there from Tabena Abani. Feeds through Yokokawa. Ramazani did well to put him under the pump. And it's out for a corner. Big task today for Ramazani, as we've spoken about, the only noted centre-back in that starting lineup. But, gee, I mean, if you're putting a list together of signings of the mid-season window, he'd be right up there. What a pickup he's been on loan from South Melbourne's OFC Pro League rivals in Vanuatu United. Hoping to have a big impact not only in the league but in the Oz Championship and whatever lies ahead as well in the Australia Cup. Yokokawa's ball into the back post. Back in board, but it's blocked. Kudus was trying to get on the end of it. It's cleared away.
Yeah, that's the corner routine that they've scored off last weekend in the Doherty Cup final. That lofted ball to the back post and then a header back across the face. South Melbourne dealt with that very well.
Twelve minutes gone. Last few minutes it's been Heidelberg in control. Looking to turn their control into goals, which has been the problem this season compared to last season, where they were strong defensively and they were strong going forward as well. Started the year in some ripping form. I mean, just looking back through through old notes the other day ahead of that game against Dandenong Thunder, which they did win. They were third at the time. And this topsy-turvy season, I mean, South Melbourne were first before that slate of OFC Pro League games, which meant that they had to field a lot of those under-23, some of those that are in the squad today, and getting their first taste of action since those slates of games, which hasn't been ultimately too disastrous for South Melbourne, but can't help but think that if they did have the full slate of players available, they might be staring at a week off. But again, a lot of ifs, buts and maybes, but right now they can only control what's in front of them, and they've done very well in the last few weeks to put themselves in a really good position heading into finals.
And speak of Heidelberg being third, they were third halfway through the season as well. That halfway mark, they were third, so they've really fallen off a cliff in this second half of the season.
9 games without a win in the league, looking to turn things around this afternoon. Cox, Swivel, turns and shoots, but straight at Yaron Souza. Geordie Swivel.
It's much better defending from Heidelberg. They're getting big numbers, trying to block the shot. Really put Swivel off, didn't give him any space.
Interesting season for Geordie Swivel. 5 goals in the league, but 10 in the OFC Pro League. He really dined out in the league stage of the competition. It's the nominal choice as their main number 9 to start the year alongside Noel Bernarda. Bernarda obviously since departing, and Buljuach since arriving. The flick on by Di Lorenzo straight through to Souza, but it's been the main go-to man for the majority of this campaign, has Swivel. It's interesting when you think about some of the number 9s that South Melbourne have had to cycle through in the last couple of years. I mean, 2 years ago when they were in this similar position in the Australia Cup, they had Big Harry Sawyer leading the line, and then his departure really left a big hole for them to fill. Gustav Moller for a little bit of time, and Rob Harding leading the line too, and pull into the box there, and Swivel. Shot was blocked and cleared away by Lesiotis. Come back to NPL Victoria's version of dudes sitting around a table and naming old footballers.
Riak.
Yes, Ajak Riak as well in 2023. Noel Bernarda as well, obviously, was the mainstay during that period. But then Manny Agwek who returned for that really strong period in the Oz Championship, and since departing for overseas.
Has been an issue for South Melbourne when you look at that. They just have had no stability in that number 9 position. They've always got a good number 9 in most of the time, but just they stay for a year and then they're gone. Harry Sawyer obviously had a bit of a run, and he's gone on to bigger and better things.
Well, he's just up the road now at Melbourne Victory. Every chance that they might meet again in the Australia Cup final if all goes to plan for South Melbourne. And Victory, of course.
Yeah, that would be probably a dream final.
Victory, of course, playing Sydney FC on the other side of the bracket. Preston South Melbourne in the quarterfinal tomorrow play the winner of Lions FC and North Sunshine Eagles. Keep an eye on what's at stake for North Sunshine Eagles today, because they did handle business in VPL 1, but if Lang Warren get anything, get a point, a win today or next week, North Sunshine's time in VPL 1 comes to an end, but incredibly they could be in the Australia Cup semi-finals as well. Still 1-0 over at Knights Stadium. Of course, Knights back in the top flight. good to see South Melbourne and Melbourne Knights lock horns again, and of course, Heidelberg coming up against them again next year. Some big fixtures already lined up for next season.
Yeah, you did miss that this year with the Knights being out of the league, especially South Melbourne versus Melbourne Knights, the OG derby as they call it.
Could be more of Victoria's traditional heavyweights joining Melbourne Knights. Of course, Brunswick Juventus in second at the moment, after they beat Northcote on Friday night. Still keep an eye as well on that playoff battle too, with the likes of still Northcote in third. There's still a lot could change between now and next week, and as well Bulleen in that mix too. So it could be some real tasty matchups on the cards for 2027, but the focus is still here on 2026 for now. There's a job to be done for both of these two teams.
After that pretty high-intensity opening 5 minutes, kind of really tapered off the past 10 minutes or so.
Some might be thinking it's an early edition of the NPL Victoria pod here in the broadcast at the moment.
It's not much happening.
Ramazani.
A lot of turnovers from both teams at the moment, so no one can really put their foot on it.
Here's Abani. Good ball through towards Bassetto. As well to get behind Nkomo. Now a chance here for the Burgers. Max Bassetto bearing down on goal! And it's off the post. What an opportunity there for Max Bassetto. Got behind Nkomo. And you were just waiting to see, would he go the cross, would he go the shot? He went himself. And that's just wide of the mark.
Jeez, great ball by Obani, but terrible defending there from Nkomo. Oh, I don't know how that has not gone in. It's kind of hit the inside of the post, but still gone out. Very unlucky. Max Bassetto did extremely well there. Probably needed to drive a little bit quicker towards the goal. I don't think he realised how much space he actually had.
Well, that's the question coming into this game when we looked at the starting lineups and you see that no Yankovic, no Yannikopoulos, no Aliopoulos, and only Ramazani back there. There is opportunities for Heidelberg to exploit with fullbacks having to play perhaps a little bit more centrally today.
Yeah, and that's the example of the risk you take. And Como really didn't know where he was positionally. It was way too easy for Bassetto to just flick that ball past him.
Injury interrupted here for Max Bassetto. A bit delayed compared to last season. Had a strong season for Heidelberg, his first season at the club, but with the 2 goals this campaign. Here's McGowan, has a go from the edge of the box, just wide of the mark. And Javi Lopez, he's not happy at all with his defenders. Again, an opportunity that perhaps has come a little bit too easy there for Heidelberg. South Melbourne playing themselves into a bit of trouble.
Yeah, it didn't clear their lines properly, and then it exposed them with the way they're set up. Even McGowan having the time to set himself. There needs to be a bit more desperation trying to block the shot.
Heidelberg have to take these opportunities because they're starting to pile up here. A couple good ones so far, particularly through Bramwell and Bassetto. Bramwell again looking to chase this one down. Lopez quickly off his line. Bramwell playing with a lot of energy to start this game.
Yeah, you're right. They do need to take the opportunities. They might have a rotated squad, but they've still got Paul Jawach and Geordie Swibble up there. They can change the game in a moment.
Como's clearance straight up into the air and opens the door for Humbert. Lucky. Kathleen wins it. I think if you're Johnny Anastasiadis, you'd be quite pleased with the balance of play, but not with that little foray. It's opened the door here for South Melbourne. Here's Cox. Driving forward, Swibble. Lethlean got a foot in, Mezzaruni. And it's out for a goal kick, but it occurs to the commentator. But before all that, the last 5 or 10 minutes, I think you'd be quite pleased with what Heidelberg's doing, bar the finishing at the moment.
Yeah, they've lifted their ball speed. There was a little bit flat for 10 minutes there, and once they started to move the ball a little bit quicker, they've found space in behind that South Melbourne defence.
Lucky. Loses possession. Lesiotis did really well, but Nkomo mopped up. Menelau. Haven't seen too much of Alex Menelau this season. Looking to get things moving. Cox goes towards the byline. The touch was a bit heavy, but did well to keep it alive, but the flag was up and he was out of bounds. Assistant all over that one.
Yeah, just a little bit too heavy, that first touch.
So, of course, final game of round 25. Next week, all games on at the same time, 3 p.m. on Saturday. Some very interesting permutations depending on actually how today goes. Today has a big say in what happens in the race for the top 6 and third place. Ball played through towards Juarch, but Souza quickly off his line. South Melbourne away to George Cross. That's a big one. Down at City Vista. And Heidelberg at home against the Bentley Greens, who haven't given up the ghost of survival just yet. Basetto does well. Crosses it into the area, and it's over the head there of all the Heidelberg attackers inside the box. Geez, just looking ahead to next week, I mean, with South Melbourne, George Cross. I mean, the last time these two teams played, it was the South Melbourne's under-23s out there. But that you expect to be a rocking atmosphere down in Melbourne's West, and of course Olympic Village with what's on the line after Bentley's big win yesterday.
Yeah, and well, we said at the start of the broadcast, it's in Heidelberg's hands at the moment. Probably don't want to go into that final day having to rely on South Melbourne to beat George Cross, especially after coming off, who knows, it could be 120 minutes on Wednesday night, depending how the result goes as well. So you'd imagine their lineup for Saturday's game will be probably similar to what it is this afternoon. So you'd fancy George Cross half a chance to win that game. So if Heidelberg can at least get a point today, at least their fate's still in their own hands with a better goal difference over George Cross.
And now the situation is quite simple for Heidelberg, as you mentioned. Win today, and they're back inside the top 6. Anything other than that, and it's a nervous situation for them, but they will have to rely on what happens at City Vista. McGowan going to play it through. Humbert was making the run, but Ramazani did brilliantly.
Yeah, that was the right option by McGowan. Has spotted that run out beautifully, but Ramazani too strong.
Stand corrected. If Heidelberg actually get a point today, they're back in charge of their own destiny. They go above George Cross on goal difference. That's what it could come down to in the end, because of the other side that's in the mix, Dandy City, who do have a better goal difference than both George Cross and Heidelberg, and they're on 32 points. And, well, if results go their way in both of those, and they play an Oakley team that wrapped up the premiership yesterday, you know, a team that might be, you know, perhaps just looking ahead to finals, and we know that's not the case usually with CT teams. Chris Taylor usually goes all out, doesn't matter what the game is. But we know Dandy City at this stage of the year, what they're able to usually conjure up, and they've done a really good job to make a bit of a late run, helped by the overturning of that result against Green Gully, getting them the 3-0 win.
Jeez, they seem very disconnected this afternoon, South Melbourne, which is natural with all the changes that they've made.
And Como out to Lackey. Back in board, Mezzaruni made a nice run in towards Juarch. Just couldn't bring it under his control. And Heidelberg can now clear through Mutakutis. McGowan for a throw. As well, looking at the ladder, you might be seeing the Preston are above South Melbourne as of right now. Of course, on goal difference, but after FE's ruling during the week, Preston will have another 3 points taken off their tally, which will mean that right now, technically, they're 5th. So, all things go that the way it's looking, it sets up a blockbuster elimination final where Preston and South Melbourne, arguably the two form teams in the league, going head-to-head in the first week of finals. Here's a Lucky, has a go from range, and Souza makes the save. Razmovsky, intercepted by Ramazani. Did well to keep it alive. Switching ball from Lampard. Barney stood underneath it and did well. Basetto goes to ground and wins a free kick.
Been very good in this opening 25 minutes, Basetto.
The only one left of that famed front three from last season. Ball into the area and Ramazani clears it away. And three of those, Buljuach, Sabit Noor, Max Basetto. Buljuach, of course, is there in the number 10 now for South Melbourne. Sabit Noor at the Brisbane Roar. Not quite been able to reach those same heights again this year, Heidelberg, with their new look front three. Lethlean did really well before Juach could get there. Humbert. Ball looking for the run there of Bramwell, but again, Ramazani just mopping up everything. Humbert did well on the second ball. McGowan out to Basetto. Here come the Burgers again. Looking for the run of Humbert, but again, Ramazani, who just seems to be everywhere at the moment, puts it out for another throw-in.
Yeah, they need to stop trying that long ball over the top when Ramazani's there. You're not going to beat him. He's positionally too good. He's very, very good in the air as well.
He's a brick wall down there, Hassan Ramazani. Like he did well there, and he wins his side a throw-in. So close to half an hour played here. Best chance of the game falling to Heidelberg through Max Basetto. Hitting the post. That not too many opportunities either way. Still waiting for the all-important opener. Juach. Mudakudis did well. How have you seen Bull Juach's return to NPL Victoria? He's starting to find his feet in the last couple of weeks in both the Australia Cup and the league. Yeah,
it took him a couple of games to get going. He was very impressive last week against Melbourne City. Faded out towards the second half of that game, but very, very strong in the first half.
Lucky. It's past Basetto. Good ball into the area, and Lethlean puts it behind. Corner here for South Melbourne.
Question is, does he celebrate this afternoon if he finds the back of the net? I'd be saying he'd just do one of the...
Yep. Don't stoke the flames.
Yep. Hands up in the air.
Yep.
Which I hate that. Bad luck. You used to play for him. You're playing for a new team now. Celebrate it.
Why am I not surprised he had that tag? Why am I not surprised?
I'd be shirt off.
Such an incredible impact last season, Buljuach, in his one season at Heidelberg. Looking to continue that form here now for South Melbourne. Lampard goes past everybody and it's out for a goal kick. So South Melbourne with the opportunity there to test, but really came to nothing. McGowan sends it long. Foot races on here between Lampard and Bramwell. Back to Lopez. Bramwell still chasing, looking to put the Spaniard under the pump. The head there of Abani, but Lesiotis is there to mop up. It's a better Abani and Kane Razmovsky, Ivka. I think despite what has been a difficult second half of the season, there have been two very bright sparks for Heidelberg. Of course, the fullback position has been difficult for them, troublesome throughout this year with Fletcher Fulton's injury and Jamal Ali's departure, but they both come in and had a very good impact, for the Burgers since arriving at the club.
Yeah, and Carlo Sullivan's injury as well. He was impressive at the start of the season when he came in. He was the replacement for Jamal Ali, and he was good, but obviously I think he was struggling with osteitis pubis throughout. Came back last week off the bench. But Abani and Razmovsky have been excellent signings in this late mid-season window. It's really given them a couple more options, better than playing Humbert or Lethlean out in those fullback positions, which hasn't worked for them. Not that it's improved their results, though, because look at that. I don't think either of them have played in a win.
I don't believe so, no, because the only win during this period was in the Australia Cup, and I believe they're both cup tied.
Yeah.
I think maybe Razmovsky. I think Razmovsky may have played against Cumberland. I'm not sure about Abani. Have to fact check that one when you get a moment. Fleeing just clears that one away, no nonsense. Still no Ben Collins today for Heidelberg.
Yeah, he was suspended last week with the 5 yellows. He picked up his 5th yellow against Avondale. But, yeah, it's interesting that he's not out there today. I was expecting him to play. Guess he must be carrying an injury.
Well, according to Dribble, just checking in, it still says he's suspended.
It was his 10th yellow of the season.
Well, maybe as well. He did get sent off against North Sunshine in the Australia Cup, so maybe it was a 2-game ban. So what the machinations is with all of that. But nonetheless, he's not available, and it's a big loss.
Maybe one of the suspensions was for the 5 yellows that he's picked up, and then one for the red card.
Well, I'd be hoping to have him back next week against Bentley and whatever lies ahead. Of course, they'd be hoping that they've still got a lot more football ahead of them in the final series. There'll be no Australia Cup run or no Oz Championship, but finals is still a possibility. Yokokawa couldn't get on the end of it. Lesiotis. Board there to Basetto. Skips past his man in swivel. Now Razmovsky. He has to go from range, and Lampard got a foot in the way. McGowan's crossed on a bad one. Basetto got a head to it. He's put that one wide of the mark. Basetto, he's been showing plenty of energy. Just unable to steer that one on target.
Yeah, he knows he should have done better there as well himself. You can see he's a little bit frustrated. Probably just jumped a little bit too early.
South Melbourne looking to build their way up from the back. Good that they've been able to get Javi Lopez back in the last couple of weeks. Second game back from injury. That injury suffered here against Dandenong Thunder in the dying moments of that game in early July. And geez, that feels like an eternity ago compared to now, because they scraped over the line against the Dandenong Thunder team that had just basically put together a brand new squad during the mid-season window, and that was fresh off that loss against Green Gully and Altona here, and things were not seeming great for South Melbourne around that period, but they've been able to turn things around.
Yeah, there were question marks whether they would even play finals football with the form they were in at that point. So done very well to turn their season around.
Yokokawa getting down the right. Ramazani does well, and it deflects back off his teammate, and out for a corner. So chance here again for the Burgers. 10 minutes before half-time. Corner taken quickly. Humbert. Ball played into the area. It's cleared away only as far as Lesiotis. He's in a shooting position here, Anthony Lesiotis, and it's blocked. He'll get another chance here. Mutakutis. In the air there by McGowan, and Duarch is there to bring it under his spell, and Como under the pump there, and Lopez's clearance is a dangerous one. And Como's touch has caused a turnover, and Richard Nkomo have been a bit nervous today in this first half, and just hasn't been able to settle as much as he would like.
Yeah, a bit of a shank clearance there from Lopez as well.
Just playing themselves into trouble here, South Melbourne. Abani, great feet, still going here to better Abani, back across the face, so Ramazani again. The Burgers do well to lock it inside their half. Abani, that's a heavy touch though. The ricochet might actually work out though. Humbert. Razmovsky, McGowan. Menelao got in the way. Humbert flicks it towards goal. Brilliant save from Lopez. A bit of invention there from Marcus Humbert to turn that one towards goal. But Javi Lopez at his brilliant best.
It's a great save by Lopez. That's extremely difficult. You're not expecting that from Humbert. Wasn't set on the back foot. It's very hard for a goalkeeper when they've got to tip it over the bar like that as well.
Well, that was flicked towards goal with speed there from Marcus Humbert. It's a dangerous ball in, and it's nodded back across the face of goal. Can the Burgers turn in the first? And it's cleared away again. South Melbourne under all sorts of pressure, just waiting there for the net to bulge. And left lean! And Lopez with the save. And another chance there for Heidelberg. They are peppering the South Melbourne goal.
Jeez, that was a massive chance there for left lead. He was onside as well.
A previous opportunity there, Ivka, though. The ball was just pinballing around inside the box. The Heidelberg players were basically playing head tennis between each other, but still they were unable to find that opening goal. And here they go again. Lesiotis. Yokokawa's making the run, and he finds the Japanese attacker, Asahi Yokokawa, and a brilliant block by Ramazani again. That is absolutely tremendous defending.
That's superb defending, but Yokokawa hesitated for that second, gave him the opportunity to close him down.
Lackey looking to kickstart something back the other way. Isolated there against his former teammate Abani, and it's out for a corner.
Just that second hesitation by Yokokawa. Needed to drive at the goal immediately. Gave the opportunity for Ramazani to come across. He still didn't think he was going to get there, but managed to throw his body on the line. He's an absolute monster, Ramazani. In a good way. It's so hard to get past him. He's literally a brick wall.
He's on fire today. He's got to take on a lot more without his partner in crime, Marko Jankovic. That was such an important challenge because the Burgers were in behind again. Now Heidelberg's got some defending to do. Lampard on corner duties. Not away. And South Melbourne can recycle again. Ramazani. Good switching ball, but a bit too much on it. It's out there for a goal kick. So just over 5 minutes of regulation remaining in this first half. This game sprung back into life in the last few minutes, but again has been the case with Heidelberg this year, particularly early in the season when they were still winning games, was how have they not scored? Because they have been just peppering that South Melbourne goal.
Yeah, it's important they keep going. Don't put your heads down. They've been good for the majority of this first half.
Well, one man who has been very, very dangerous in his first half, though. Anthony Lesiotis had a big impact on this one. Starting to get involved and mop it up in midfield and playing those balls through.
Yeah, which is what you want to see from him. Well, obviously, hasn't had the same kind of season as he did last year. It's been a difficult year for him, especially this past month. I've done a couple of Heidelberg games, and he's just a lot of turnovers in his game and missing tackles and stuff that he's been so good at.
We've heard whispers he has been playing hurt, and you do wonder if maybe that is something that has potentially impacted him. Basetto. Abani's making the run down this near side, and it just finds him, but Nkomo made the challenge. Abani, well, he thought he won the foul. He stopped playing the ball there, and he was able at least, though, to win the throw-in.
He's struggling out there, Nkomo. Every time the ball comes out to this left-hand side, you just feel like Heidelberg's going to get him behind.
None of those centre-back options are on the bench for South Melbourne today, so see how they manage this going forward. Basetto, that was going to take something spectacular, and he's dragged that one well wide of the mark.
Yeah, just didn't get that purchase on it that he wanted.
So just looking at the bench for both teams today, South Melbourne, Jake Charleston, Andre Skopoulos, Sam Fawcett, Max Mikola back on the bench today, along with George Saristavros and Oliver Pert. But a big in as well with Mikola coming back. Yeah,
well, obviously hasn't played for quite some time now. That's why Heidelberg will back themselves now. If they can keep this game even at 0-0 until the 60th, 70th minute, there's not that much that South Melbourne can bring on that can really change the game too much for them today. There's just bodies on the bench for them, really. Mikola hasn't played for some time, and then you've got your under 23s players there, and you've got Lampard out there that hasn't played for quite some time as well. How's he going to last the full 90 minutes?
You'd think the hope would be with Lampard and Mikler is just get enough minutes in them so they're ready for Wednesday night, because you'd think that they'd be in the squad 'cause it's such a big game. Max Mikler, of course, has had some big highlights in the big show in the past, so they definitely want him available. And Lampard, when he's up and going, one of the best fullbacks in NPL Victoria. Here's Cox. To Juach. Lucky was in a load of space this near side, but they were unable to find him. Ramazani stepping forward again. And he wins his side the free kick. And we're looking at that bench for Heidelberg today. Ashton Bonzel, Carlos Sullivan, Christian Theoharis, Anthony Theo, Nicholas Zimos and Choctaw back after a few weeks on the sidelines, injured against Avondale. They'll be happy to have another attacker available. No Joseph Lee, who drops out of the squad. A couple of players to maybe turn to in the second half if they need some inspiration going forward.
Yeah, they definitely have more depth on the bench than South Melbourne this afternoon. So it's probably important for South Melbourne. They try and get a goal just before half-time, take the wind out of Heidelberg's sail.
Cox still going. Mezzaruni back to Cox. Lucky making the run, and Cox's effort well over the bar.
Jeez, it's the wrong option there, isn't it? His body wasn't set. Lucky had the space there to take it and whip a ball in.
Some of those names missing from South Melbourne that we've spoken about that they are without, which would be certainly a big bonus for them. Marko Jankovic, David Yu, Paolo Retre, Yuki Achita, Tom Yanakopoulos, Sebastian Pasquale and Jack Painter-Andrews. Players, majority of those names, you'd think, basically you could make an argument for all of them, would be starters for South Melbourne when they're at full tilt. Everyone bar Pasquale being rested up. Pasquale, of course, suspended after getting his 5th yellow card against Melbourne City last week. Oh, no free kick paid there for Lackey. Abani puts the afterburners on and does well to get him behind Nkomo. Plays the ball back across the face, and Humbert was waiting, as was McGowan. But neither Burgers player was able to test Harvey Lopez on that occasion.
Yes, that's super impressive from Abani.
Cox looking for the run there of Swibble. So seconds remaining in regulation time. We'll see how much added time there'll be. Don't think there'll be too much. It's been quite a flowing game, not too many stoppages. South Melbourne perhaps get another chance here before the break. It's cleared away. Humbert nods it forward and well won there by Nkomo. And we'll get no first half stoppage time, in fact. And the score here at Lakeside Stadium is South Melbourne 0, Heidelberg United 0. Ivka, Heidelberg have had their chances. They've been the one that have had the best of those opportunities. Of course, Max Bassetto hitting the post and having a few chances from set pieces. But still, we await the opener here in this blockbuster on Saturday afternoon footy.
Yeah, they'll be kicking themselves, Heidelberg. You know, they had some really good chances in that first half. Obviously, having better of the play as well. South Melbourne very disconnected this afternoon. That's the risk you take, making so many changes to your starting 11. But Heidelberg will just keep doing the same as what they're doing. They, maybe the first 10 minutes they weren't really in the contest, but after that they've really stepped up. They've been good defensively, creating goal-scoring opportunities. So more of the same for them in the second half.
Well, go and get yourself a beverage and get yourself sorted during the halftime period, because it's set to be a blockbuster second half here. So much on the line for these two sides. South Melbourne looking to take a big step towards a home final, and Heidelberg towards getting themselves back inside the top 6. We'll be back in around 15 minutes' time for the second half here at Lakeside. Score here is South Melbourne 0, Heidelberg 0.
Sam Fawcett, and number 24, George Savistavros.
Right. Second half here between South Melbourne and Heidelberg. All but set to get started here. Still 0-0 between the two sides. And South Melbourne, they have made 3 changes at half-time. Again, still one eye on this Wednesday's clash against Preston, a heavily rotated team for today's game. But still important for them to get the 3 points to get themselves a step closer towards locking in a home final and potentially third place. Nick Tabato and Mark Ivkovic here to take you through all the action. Ivka, triple sub here from South Melbourne. Andres Kapoulis coming on along with George Sarastavros and Oliver Pert. Richard Nkomo coming off along with Alex Menelau.
Jordan Lampard.
And Jordan Lampard as well, the other one to be coming off. Yep, just still doing the mats there, but they're the 3 changes here at the break.
Yeah, you'd say Lampard and Menelau obviously managing their minutes. They're just coming back from decent injuries. And Como had a disaster first half, really. I don't think that was a change that Sinisa Kuhadzic had in his mind. But Heidelberg were licking their lips now. A very youthful defence to attack in this second half.
Underway here. Heidelberg getting things underway in their yellow kits, going to the right of your screen. South Melbourne in blue. Important game here. Heidelberg at the moment on the live ladder. They go above George Cross on goal difference, back into 6th. A win, though, would be massive for them, especially from a confidence perspective after 9 games without a win in the league. And they got an opportunity here, but getting across to clear away was the substitute Pert. So still no Max Mikola. Perhaps he'll be on managed minutes this afternoon. I think it'd be a tick for Sinisa Kuhadzic if Jordan Lampard got through the 45 unscathed and hoping to ramp up his minutes going into finals football. One of those players that, when he's fit and firing, he's one of the first names on the team sheet for South Melbourne, whether it's been under Sinisa Kuhadzic or Esteban Quintas. He's always been in that 11. Flicked on by Basetto. And Lopez quickly off his line. So, again, a very youthful South Melbourne defence that has been held together very well so far by both Lopez and Hassan Ramazani. Picturesque afternoon here at Lakeside Stadium. A beautiful Sunday afternoon to wrap up round 25. The final stop before a blockbuster final round. All games running simultaneously. The weather today makes you even more excited for the September weather that's coming around the corner. It means finals football is getting ever closer. Can't help it when you're looking at the live ladder and you start seeing what might be lying ahead in that first week of finals, and both these teams will be hoping to be in action. Here is Lackey. Still going down the right-hand side and was looking for Duach, and still a South Melbourne player down behind play as Lethlean ignores it and looking to get things moving, but the ball's played out there for a throw.
He was going to call it back for a foul, but Lackey got himself into a crossing position.
So I think that is Matthew. Matthew Di Lorenzo?
No, I think it's Mezzaruni.
Andrew Mezzaruni, sorry. 50th game in NPL for Andrew Mezzaruni. Had a big moment the other week against St Albans, scoring those 2 goals in that 2-0 win, and of course that result for South Melbourne so important when you look at just getting points at this stage of the season, stacking them up. It doesn't matter how they come about, it's so important. McGowan.
This is a golden opportunity for Heidelberg, really. The changes that they've made now, South Melbourne, for a team that, they were good in that first half too, Heidelberg. So much on the line for them in this second 45.
So what do you think, just winning this game from a confidence perspective, to finally, sing the club song, to get 3 points on the board, just would be like the weight of the world off their shoulders, particularly in a game like this, albeit, spoken about, a rotated South Melbourne team, but just to get a win would be worth its weight in gold for Heidelberg, as now Cox cuts inside, and Sousa did well to get down to his left. Parries that one away and out for a corner. And well, despite this rotated South Melbourne team, they've still got a bit going forward, and they can test, as Aaron Cox did just there.
Well, that's where Sinisha Kahachis has got his line-up right. They might be weak defensively. You've got Ramazani there, and you've got the big dogs up top still.
Aaron Cox has been in some great form to end this season, and he's a player you don't want to leave in a lot of space on the edge of the box. Lucky and Co get a foot to it, and it's out for another corner. Interestingly enough, South Melbourne haven't beaten Heidelberg in the league at home since round 1, 2022. Actually, in fact, at all in the league since all the way back then. That's an incredible wait for them. They've gotten wins in the Doherty Cup final, in the Australian Championship, but not in the league since all the way back then.
Yeah, and South Melbourne were probably the better team for a large chunk of those years as well. It was really only last year that Heidelberg started to become a powerhouse again.
It's one of those stats, even when you write it down, you still doubt it. So, knowing me, I'm going to go fact check that one more time, because it still seems too good to be true. But you are right. During that period, South Melbourne have been the dominant force, particularly during that Esteban Quintas era against Heidelberg. But yeah, just going through the archives, the repeat fixture that year, Heidelberg won 2-1. If memory serves me correctly, Ivan Franjic scored a late winner at Olympic Village that day. Swivel able to chase this one down. Backing board towards Duach and cleared away by Razmovsky. Lackey's there to get on the end of it, but a poor touch, and it's out for a throw-in. So, 2023, Heidelberg did the double against South Melbourne. Mind you, that was a Heidelberg team that missed finals that year.
Yeah, that was George Katsakis' last year. I remember calling the game here at Lakeside. They were really out of form at that point, and they still managed to win that game.
And then 2024, a 1-1 draw and a 1-0 win for Heidelberg on that occasion. Of course, that was Johnny A's first season in charge of the Burgers. And then last season, it's Mezzaruni looking to feed it through. Here's Swibble. Across the face there. It's a bit of a cross-come shot in the end there from Swibble. And then last year, well, Heidelberg got a 3-0 win here during South Melbourne's really difficult start, and then a 1-1 draw later in the season. And of course, earlier this year, Heidelberg won 4-0 against South Melbourne when it was the under-23s for South Melbourne out there. So, yep, going back through it, it all still stands.
Well, that was Esteban Quintas' last game when Heidelberg beat him here.
Yeah, I believe so. Jeez, doesn't that feel like an eternity ago? It was only last year that South Melbourne were in that relegation battle.
Mm-hmm. Goes to show how quickly things can change.
Razmovsky puts it out for a throw-in. One of those other Victorian heavyweights, as we spoke about earlier, that were relegated, in fact, that year. Melbourne Knights, who didn't escape the relegation battle that year. They're coming straight back up. They are behind, though, in their premiership party against Langwarren, 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think they'll care that they're down today.
Nope. I'm sure they'll be celebrating long into the night, all involved at Melbourne Knights. Congratulations on your return. Looking forward to seeing the two of them go head-to-head again next season. But here's Razmovsky crossing it in. Basetto got a head to it, looking back inboard towards Bramwell, but it's cleared away. Swivel able to chase that one down for the run of Duach, but it could have still able to get a foot in, but it still might work out here for South Melbourne. It's Sarah Stavros looking to get forward, and Comes on out here to Aaron Cox. Has a shot there and Souza making the save. And it's bundled in by Mezzaruni. In his 50th game, Andrew Mezzaruni puts South Melbourne in front. What a massive moment there for the home side. Cox did well down the left. Souza was unable to parry it over the mark. And Mezzaruni's there to make sure that it went in, but was it he who got the first touch to bundle it over the line?
Yeah, it was Mezzaruni. But, jeez, Heidelberg. Mutakuda's got sucked out there following Buljawach. Left his defence exposed a little bit. They'll like to shift across. But Sarah Stavros, he's done extremely well there, driving through that middle of the pitch. Great ball as well, out wide. It's, Heidelberg. They'll be kicking themselves. We spoke about it. You know, South Melbourne still had the prowess up top. It wasn't going to take much for them to capitalise on any moments that they created, although they've been few and far between.
Well, that familiar sinking feeling, I'm sure, will be reverberating around the Heidelberg squad at the moment. They don't want to make it 10 without a win. Sorry, they'd love it to be 10 unbeaten, but it's staring down the barrel right now of 10 games winless in the league. And on the live ladder, well, there would be a cheer coming from City Vista at the moment. As George Cross, well, they're back inside the top 6. And even if you're of a Dandy City persuasion as well, there'd be some cheers coming from Frank Holohan too. As Aaron Cox now looking to get forward. South Melbourne want to make sure of it. Cox still going. He's having a big impact to start this second half.
They've started the second half really badly, Heidelberg. They were impressive in that opening 45 minutes. Maybe it's a mentality thing. They see those substitutions at half-time. They think, well, you know, it's pretty easy, isn't it? A couple of under-23s players coming on in defence. This should be pretty routine for us, but you can't forget how out of form this Heidelberg team is. And the result's not just going to get handed to them. They've got to earn it. Now they find themselves 1-0 down. Low on confidence. It's going to be difficult for them to find the way back into this one.
Well, you were prophetic in the first half, Ivka, because you said if they don't take their chances, they've got to be very, very careful. And it feels like that this has just been the story of their season. Even before this year, or before this little run that they've been on where they haven't been able to get results, they haven't been able to take their chances in many of those games that they drop points. I mean, you look back early in the season, the games they drop points against the likes of Altona Magic. And right now they're staring down the barrel of yet another defeat, unless they can turn things around. Still plenty of time. We don't want to write the obituaries just yet, but it's just been the story of Heidelberg's season for the best part of over 2 months, almost 3 now. Basetto. Lesiotis. McGowan's making the run. McGowan is in behind here for Heidelberg, but good tracking and well played from Andre Skopoulos getting back and out here for a corner.
Now we'll see what this team's made out of mentally, Heidelberg. And if they can call themselves out of this, they're still not dead and buried.
Humbert here on corner duties. Short to Lesiotis. Heavy first touch, but back to Humbert. Nodded away again. Buljawach this time doing a bit of defending. Abani steps past his man. Still going here to Bena Abani. Well defended there by Di Lorenzo, who did really well to slow down Abani. And now South Melbourne can go through Lackey. Basetto gives away the foul.
You know I hate those short corners, Nick, but what really confuses me, you scored last week from a direct corner kick. You scored in the Doherty Cup final from a direct corner kick. You nearly scored this afternoon from that same routine that they've been doing. Why play it short? That's been your biggest goal threat the past couple of weeks.
Well, it's been their one wood, as you said. Well, it looks like there's movement on the South Melbourne bench, and, well, we could be set to welcome back Max Mikola.
Yeah, you'd imagine one of Jawach or Swibble will be coming off. It's job done now for South Melbourne. They've got the lead. They're just going to probably try and defend that 1-0 lead.
So, right now, South Melbourne in fourth as Swibble with a very audacious attempt out for a goal kick. So they're in fourth. They're equal with Avondale on points, but their goal difference is significantly less than Avondale's. I mean, it helps when you get an 11-0 win. It has put Avondale particularly in that position, but still in the mix for third. I mean, in all due respect to the teams that are battling for sixth versus what might lie ahead in the elimination final against, you'd say, the form team in the league in Preston Lions. For South Melbourne, the opportunity to get into third and maybe avoid that sort of matchup would be huge for them. So we'll see the change now. Hassan Ramazani is going to be coming off here, and Sam Fawcett on here for his South Melbourne debut. And Aaron Cox's afternoon comes to an end. And Max Mikola back on for his first minutes since the big show.
Oh, I got that wrong, didn't I? I thought it would have been one of Jawach and Swibble. I couldn't see both of them playing 90 minutes, considering the game on Wednesday, but it's opted to keep both of them out there. Well, he's emptied the bench, hasn't he, now?
Yep. Well, again, one eye on Wednesday, but this is a significantly weakened South Melbourne defence with some of the players that are missing. So Heidelberg they've got a great chance to put this team under the pump, and they've got a chance here through McGowan, but it's cleared away. Mikola. Still, though, this South Melbourne team has plenty going forward. Lackey, there's a Heidelberg player still down. I believe it is Lesiotis. Play continues as Lackey still going. Riding the challenges, James Lackey. Left lane clears. Well played there by Di Lorenzo. He's had a few moments here to start this second half. It's a good ball into the box. Nodded away, only as far as Lackey. Lesiotis back on his feet and slowly lumbering back. Mikola fizzing along the deck, and Souza making the stop. Still yet to see John Anastasiadis turn to his bench, but you'd expect the likes of Chock Dow and Christian Theoharis to be amongst the players he'd be looking to bring on.
Right on cue there, Nick. I think both of them are getting stripped off, ready to come on.
Still waiting for Theoharis to open up his account for Heidelberg, and what a moment it would be if he can get involved and have a part in what would be a massive goal in their season if he's able to find the back of the net.
I think it's actually Carlo Sullivan and Chock Dow getting ready.
Okay, well, second game back for Carlo Sullivan, the Irishman. Chock Dow scored 2 goals this season, and one of those did come in that last win that they got in the league against Andy Thunder in late May. Lesiotis, Bassetto got a head to it, but the flag is up. Bramwell was in behind, but he still put his effort wide of the mark. Wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah, didn't read that right, Bassetto. Need to look across the line, see where you are. And come those 2 changes.
So we will see those changes. Asahi Yokokawa is going to be play coming off here for Chock Dow, and it looks like as well it'll be the end of the afternoon for Jay McGowan. And Carlo Sullivan coming on, so we'll see maybe what sort of shuffle there will be to ensure bringing on, making all these sort of moves. Will Razmovsky maybe move centrally, or it looks like it will be. So O'Sullivan into right back. Humbert in the midfield along with Lesiotis and Razmovsky for the time being. Dow out on that right-hand side.
Yeah, Yokokawa probably didn't really have a great impact on the game. Did have that chance, but besides that, a lot of turnovers in the middle of the park. Hasn't been the same player as well this year, has he?
Pert nods it away for a throw. So just over an hour played. Andrew Mezzaruni's goal, the difference here. Expect Heidelberg to throw the kitchen sink and some in these last half an hour to try and turn this one around.
Even just to get an equaliser. As we said, a point, we'll put them back into sixth spot.
At least they just be in control of their own destiny going into the final round.
Well, that's it. All they need to do is win on the final day, and they don't need to look at what's happening at City Vista. You can't see George Cross turning around the goal difference. Even a week in South Melbourne, I don't think they could do a demolition job on them.
Mezzaruni for the run there of Swivel. Still plenty of time left in this game.
It's probably smart by Kahajic to leave Juache and Swivel out there, because once Heidelberg do start getting desperate and start throwing numbers forward, how desperate can they get when you've got those two just waiting up top?
Lesiotis got a foot in and couldn't get it on the second attempt. Skopoulos, Mezzaruni. Razmovsky wins it back. Well, this is the third goal for Andrew Mezzaruni in this little run. Scored some big goals at this venue in the last couple of weeks. O'Sullivan making the run from fullback. Dow in support. And he gives away the throw-in. So good defending there from Mikola.
Oh, you spoke about big dogs getting relegated before, Nick. I'm sure there's a lot of Greek people watching this game. Sydney Olympic, 5 minutes away.
Oh, it's a good ball in behind, and it's a great challenge from Oliver Pert. Bassetto was bearing down on goal, but the youngster, what a moment there for Oliver Pert.
What a tackle.
Had to time that to perfection, Ivka.
That came from nothing as well, just a hopeful pass. Bassetto was through. That's a superb.
Oh, it's a brilliant effort from Rage, and Heidelberg have their equaliser. Kane Razmovsky pulling that one out of nowhere. Seconds after that challenge there from Oliver Pert, and Razmovsky goes bang from long range to tie things up here at Lakeside.
Jeez, what a strike from Razmovsky. You back Lopez to deal with that. Take nothing away from the strike, but it was hit along the ground. Just didn't get his angle right. Lopez, it's kind of gone underneath him, but that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Heidelberg.
Oh, absolutely, and they've got their tails up going into these last 25 minutes, and Kane Razmovsky, his first goal for Heidelberg as well, the former Melbourne victory man. We sung his praises in the first half and said he'd been one of the bright sparks during this difficult run. Moved centrally since Carlos Sullivan's come on, and well, making the most of his chance in midfield there.
Yeah, well, that change worked a treat, didn't it?
And this young South Melbourne defence are going to have to face a barrage of yellow. As Heidelberg, well, you'd think they're going to throw everything at these next few minutes. So the live ladder changes again. Heidelberg back into the top six on goal difference.
Yeah, can that be the spark for Heidelberg now?
Woodakudis under the pump, clearing it away for Dow. He controlled it on his arm. In fact, it was his shoulder, and he did well.
Jeez, he just needed to get his head up. Chock Dow. Lesiotis had acres of space in the middle of the park.
So it's a big test now for this South Melbourne team, with a lot of their senior players in the stands already subbed off. Skopoulos did very well.
Did very well, considering Chock Dow had his whole shirt in his hand.
The Heidelberg fans that have made the trip to make some noise and will their side on. And they avoid yet another game without a win. Throw in here for South Melbourne. So if you're just tuning in, Andrew Mezzaruni, the goal that puts South Melbourne in front, but Kane Razmovsky with an equaliser, and here's Kieran Bramwell! And did it come off a South Melbourne player last? It did.
Yeah, it's good defending there by Sam Fawcett. He thought Bramwell was through there, but he kept up with him and just got his foot there to block that shot.
Good defending there from Fawcett. Debut for South Melbourne since making the mid-season move from Eastern Lions. Dow into the back post, and waiting there was Razmovsky, but Lopez making the save. Razmovsky was all by himself there at the back post, and Lopez had to be strong, and he was. Just got to be careful there, South Melbourne, to not allow Heidelberg players to ghost and get free at the back post like they did on that occasion.
Well, again, that's their specialty, that deep corner.
Bramwell flicks it out towards Basetto. And it's out for another corner. Heidelberg are pushing. The fans that have made the trip here, they can feel it too. Chucked out again on corner duties. Left lean, Mutakutis, Bramwell amongst the players in the middle. He goes short to Humbert. Back to Dow. Here's Lesiotis in some space. Anthony Lesiotis! It was always rising, and man to my right here, Mark Ivkovic. The second that was played short, you can see the shake of the head out the corner of my eye. And it's out for a goal kick. He's very much vindicated after that one.
Of course I'm vindicated. And 30 seconds ago, he just put in a very dangerous direct corner to the back post. So, I don't know, Nicky boy. It really baffles me why teams do that.
Dow nods it forward. Fawcett did well to get a foot in. Razmovsky. Lesiotis is there to chase it down. Basetto on that far side is there. The run comes from Abani, but he's put just a bit too much on it. And Pert's there to see it out for a goal kick.
I feel like that pressure's building now on that South Melbourne defence. That goal's really given Heidelberg that confidence they needed.
Draw will keep South Melbourne in fourth. They'll be 2 points behind Avondale. So still in the mix for third, but would need to win and Avondale to lose against Hume. But it is an Avondale team that are playing a Hume team that have already locked in a top 2 spot. Avondale can't really move, bar obviously dropping down to fourth, so still got something to play for there as well. Sarah Stavros. Swibble with a bit of an inventive effort, but straight at Yaron Souza. Still got plenty going forward, South Melbourne. As you mentioned, Ivko, sorry, what happened seconds prior to the Kane Razmovsky goal, but saying that Sydney Olympic relegated to the second tier in New South Wales.
Before we were rudely interrupted by that equaliser. But yeah, there's about 2 minutes left in that game, 1-0 down to Marconi, so not even a draw's good enough for Sydney Olympic. So they will be relegated, which is, that's massive news, especially in the Greek community for one of the powerhouses, Sydney Olympic.
One of the powerhouses of Australian football finding themselves in the second tier. Green Gully as well, of course, relegated earlier this year.
Yeah, it just goes to show you get it wrong off the park and how far you can fall down. Knights have done it. South Melbourne, had shades of doing it last year, but they've turned it around massively.
Abani. Basetto, good control there in the middle of the park. No free kick paid. Advantage is the call. Lesiotis. Now Dow. Defended there by Skopoulos. Dow gets another crack at it here. Humbert. Sullivan under the pump here and turns it over. So I've played about 74 minutes here. Still 1-1.
It's interesting to see how desperate Heidelberg get. Do they go for all 3 points, or do they content with taking a point, putting themselves back into the top 6 and back themselves to beat Bentley on the final day? Bentley team that, well, it's entirely not out of it. It depends what kind of performance they put in.
Abani, here's Humbert, is in behind Marcus Humbert! Oh, he drags his effort wide of the mark. But it did take a deflection, and it's out for a corner. Was it Javi Lopez that made the save, or was it a South Melbourne player that got in the way? It was Lopez.
Lopez got a finger onto it. Jeez, we've seen that ball a few times now in the past 10 minutes where it's just gone straight through that South Melbourne defence.
Well, Humbert this time, he's going straight to the mixer. Not a back in and cleared away. Nabani's there to mop up. Ooh, a bit of a dangerous touch. It might open the door here for Mezzaruni, but good speed there from Lesiotis to get back. And play it all the way back to Yaron Souza. And it's over the head there of Abani, so South Melbourne can go again. Gee whiz, it's all happening here.
I understand why South Melbourne have made the changes they've made, but a back three, a very young, inexperienced back three, big risk there by Sinisha. You can see the amount of space that Heidelberg's been able to create since Ramazani's come off.
Mikola, it's a play into the box. Cross took a deflection. Bunjuach was unable to get there. So you did talk about Bentley, Ivkard. They need to make up 8 goals on the final day if they want to get themselves out of the relegation battle. So, I mean, the great thing for the neutral will be is on that when Heidelberg play Bentley is both teams are going to have to go for it, which is going to make it potentially a really high-scoring game. Here's Dow across the face. Humbert's waiting. And Lopez again. And it's out for another corner. Well, if the Burgers can find another and win this game, they'll put themselves clear inside the top 6. So they know that even though a draw would help, if a win would just give them that 2-point buffer. And you'd think in that case almost a draw would be enough.
Yeah, against Bentley.
Nodded away. Humbert. Dow. Cleared away by Lackey. Well, a win for Heidelberg would end Dandy City's finals hopes as well. So I'm sure that those of a Dandy City persuasion at the moment, they're praying that South Melbourne can hold firm because they are under the pump right now.
Yeah, the Heidelberg's only got themselves to blame if they don't get all 3 points here. They've created more than enough chances to win this game.
Mutakuris.
Since that equaliser as well, they've really got South Melbourne on the ropes at the moment.
Heavy touch from Abani. It's out for a goal kick. So 77 minutes played. Picturesque setting here at Lakeside Stadium. Is there another twist here? O'Sullivan. Bramwell flicks it over the top, looking for the run there of Dow. Did well to shield the ball away there from Skopoulos. Skopoulos did well to get back.
He's done very well since he's come on, Skopoulos. He's really stifled any influence for Choc Dow. that attacking threat's come down the other side of the park.
There's a bit of a coming together there between Mikula and Razmovsky. Razmovsky's hit the deck. It seems like the two just had a bit of a tussle. And the two getting a talking to here by the referee. Razmovsky's he's shocked. Well, not entirely sure of what the contents of the discussion was, but
He wasn't impressed, was he?
yeah, he was hoping for a booking or that sort. O'Sullivan, good ball into the area. It's over the head of Bramwell, and Basetto was waiting at the back post. Abani chases this one down. Basetto in a crossing position. Good ball in towards Bramwell, and Pert did well. Duach shut down by his former teammate Lesiotis. Lesiotis nods it forward again. Bit of head tennis here. Lackey turns it over. Lesiotis looking for the run of Basetto. Cleared away. Abani got a foot in. Budakudis knocks it forward. Humbert. Here's Dow. Heavy touch. Just opens the door there. And Mikula, now he goes to ground against Razmovsky. The two of them resume hostilities, and South Melbourne win the free kick.
They've been very good, these South Melbourne youngsters that have come on at dealing with these high balls, and when Heidelberg start peppering them that way, where they've come undone is when Heidelberg's move the ball quickly from the middle of the park. They actually look quite comfortable when they're set defensively.
Lackey. Duach did well to stand underneath it. Swivel. Lackey again. Still going down this right-hand side, James Lackey. It's back onto his left. Duach. Shot's blocked. Another opportunity here for the home side, though. Lackey. Onto his left. Deflection works out almost for Sarastavros. And it's out for a throw-in, and, well, there'll be a yellow card there. Is it Tasmudakudis?
Yeah, or maybe Carlo Sullivan, one or the other.
Not really clear who it was because there was no real reaction. Well, now we'll get to see the famed Max Mikula long throw return. You'd think. No.
The decoy.
Bit of a tease there from Mikula. Lackey, good ball into the area. Flicked out to the back post. Mezzaruni. Good ball into the box. Comes out there to Di Lorenzo. It's out for a goal kick.
What's worse than a short corner, a short throw-in?
I was going to say, what do you think about that one?
And not a fan.
It's been such a weapon in his 5 seasons now at South Melbourne for Max Mikula. Perfect timing to get him back from injury. Just in time for the Australia Cup quarter-final and the final series. So Heidelberg are getting ready to make their third change. Looks like Christian Theoharis getting ready to come on. Dow did well to keep it in. Skips past Skopoulos. Here's Chock Dow looking inboard. And Lackey getting back to clear it away. Bramwell was making the run. Was unable to find his man. And we will see that change now. Max Basetto off. Christian Theoharis on here for the final few minutes.
United coming off. Number 20, Max Basetto coming on. Number 11, Christian Theoharis.
So it was good, desperate defending by South Melbourne. Really good work by Chock Dow. Good ball across the face of goal. Never easy to defend those as well.
So, Basetto, who hit the post in the first half off. He had a very strong first half and for all pretty decent game, but Theoharis on here for the final few minutes. O'Sullivan does well, gets himself into a crossing position, but it came off the outside of the foot. And it's out for a goal kick.
It's a disappointing delivery. Did everything right besides the cross into the box. Doesn't look like they're throwing the kitchen sink at it yet. Heidelberg. South Melbourne's stemmed that flow of a barrage of attacks just a little bit now.
Just get the sense, though, there is one more opportunity in this one for either team, particularly for the visitors who have done most of the attacking. Here's the goal scorer, Mezzaruni. Duarch back to Mezzaruni. Cross into the area. So Stavros was waiting, but Mutakudis clearing it away. And Dow sends it long. Fawcett under pressure here from Bramwell, but he did well, Fawcett. Good composure. Did very well to skip past Humbert and find his man in Mezzaruni. Did well in the second attempt, and here's Lucky. His players waiting in the middle. James Lucky went for glory, and he puts his effort wide of the mark.
Went for glory and had three teammates with their hands up, asking why didn't you play it to us. Got to back yourself low there. Lucky had the momentum.
Heidelberg in no particular rush to get things moving again. Jared Sosa didn't have the ball, and he really is in no rush at the moment.
Might go back to that point that we said. Maybe they're happy to just take a point.
Well, at the moment, it's just about qualifying, right? And I think for them, knowing that a point is enough to get them inside the top 6 for now is important. But you just think, like, getting that bit of an extra gap and going in 2 points clear, it just would help.
Definitely would help. And they've had the momentum the last 20 minutes. I would just go for it.
Theoharis did well. O'Sullivan. Mutakudis sends it long. Humbert looking to chase this one down. Fawcett will get there first. Humbert putting him under all sorts of pressure, but free kick given away there from Marcus Humbert.
That's silly from Marcus Humbert. No need to give away a foul like that.
Fawcett did well to stand his ground and just absorb the contact and get his body in the way.
Yeah, he's been good since he's come on.
Also, the latest in just a long line of players that have donned South Melbourne blue this season. Mutakudis sending it long. Theoharis used his body well. Skips past Skopoulos. Jordy Swivel getting back and doing some defending now. Theoharis able to cross it in towards Bramwell. It's nodded away only as far as Anthony Lesiotis. It's cleared. Well, South Melbourne throwing bodies back at the moment. They want to preserve a point.
You can see Jordy Swivel's probably been told to just sit in the middle now.
Oh, Lucky's headers opened the door here for Dow. Didn't deal with it in the manner that he would have hoped. Left lane. Cleared away there by Fawcett. Dow. Driving the ball much deeper than you'd usually expect, and he's turned it over. Here's Mezzaruni. He could have did well to make up for it. Mikola and Razmovsky collide again. And it's a free kick going in the favour of South Melbourne.
It all started from that clumsiness from Choctaw in the middle of the park. It's the pressure getting to him now. Again, that's why you don't want to leave it to the final day. Pressure does funny things to people. At least if they win today, you can afford to draw on the final day.
Abani. Over the head of Bramwell. Razimovsky. Good control there by Theoharis. Humbert making the run. Humbert, he's in behind here. Marcus Humbert back across the face of goal. And was unable to find either Bramwell or Dow. And Lopez making the save. Feels like Marcus Humbert's looking the most likely, if anyone, for Heidelberg at the moment going forward.
Yeah, he's making very, very good deep runs.
Swivel looking for Lackey. Good touch from Abani, and he wins the free kick. Into the final few minutes of the 90. See how much added time there will be. O'Sullivan. Souza sends it long. One in the air there by Di Lorenzo. Swivel looking to feed through Sarastavros, and O'Sullivan charging back and puts it behind for a corner. So some more defending for Heidelberg to do here, perhaps.
Jeez, what a blow this would be to them if they were to concede here late into the game.
Well, if they concede here and go on to lose, they would rightfully be wondering, are they ever going to see 3 points again? At least in 2026, but nonetheless, we haven't got to that point just yet. We shouldn't go the early crow. Mezzaruni. To a dangerous area. Souza punches it away. Lackey lets it run. Another throw in here for South Melbourne. We'll see if they will send this one in. It looks like they may. Mikola making his way over. Some of the tall timber staying forward. Now it'll be 5 minutes of added time, and well, Mikola again going short. Lackey floats it in. Nodded away by Lethlean. Heidelberg jerseys everywhere as they try to win this one back. Now Theoharis, and they've got a chance to break here. Humbert's free in the middle, but Skopoulos did well. Well, that was an opening there for the Burgers because they did well to win it back, and Marcus Humbert was unmarked in the middle.
Yep, they had all the numbers, Heidelberg.
Theoharis just had to find his man.
It's a poor first touch by Theoharis.
Here he is. Theoharis has a go! Christian Theoharis puts Heidelberg in front in second half stoppage time with one of the great goals of the 2026 season. And what a goal that could be for Heidelberg. It may just finally end their winless run. Oh, that's incredible.
What a strike by Christian Theoharis. Oh, when they needed a goal, my God, what a finish. She made up for that poor first touch that led to that throw-in. They had the numbers streaming forward. What a strike.
Well, Christian Theoharis, his minutes have been few and far between since arriving at Heidelberg. He hasn't had the impact before today that he would have liked. But just when they needed him, their big-name signing of the mid-season window steps up and scores perhaps, the biggest goal of Heidelberg's season so far. Both him and Razmovsky in this second half have scored massive goals to turn this one around. They've still got a bit more work to do. The ghosts of last week would still be ringing in their ears. Can they hold on and end this 9-game winless run in the league?
They just need to stay focused for 4 or so minutes.
Long ball forward, looking for the run of Mezzaruni. Souza did well. And all the experience on show there from Yaron Souza, just to take his time, play the minutes. So, on the live ladder, Heidelberg, 2 points inside the top 6. If it continues, it would end Dandy City's finals hopes. And it would be a massive blow in George Cross's, who would now be relying on Heidelberg losing next week and a win against South Melbourne to get themselves back in the 6 if things continue. And Heidelberg, they want more. Razmovsky to Theoharis. Call's coming to go to the corner, and Theoharis, well, goes one way and back the other. Looking inboard, here's Choctaw! Puts it over the mark. Well, that was his moment there to potentially put this one out of reach. Still time for South Melbourne, though.
Surely they can't blow it from here. We just need to manage these final moments.
Theoharis going straight towards the corner.
That's all you want.
And they win themselves a throw-in. Oh, the weight of the world has been on the shoulders of these Heidelberg players, their coaching staff, everyone involved over the last 2 months. Almost 3 now. They've seen them drop points over the last few weeks in the most heartbreaking of circumstances. Including the Cup final as well, and the Australia Cup against North Sunshine last week. But this could be the win that could maybe breathe some life into their season and give them another crack at it in the finals. And keep their hopes of potentially, to get in, you've got to have a ticket to win the raffle, and keep their hopes of maybe going back-to-back alive. It's a big ask given their current form, but as you said, you've got to be in it to win it.
Moments like that can change your season. They've been under the pump for 2 months now, over 2 months. And, a strike like that from nowhere to win you a game, put you back in the box seat to get yourself a final spot, that can really, really change your momentum drastically. That's all it takes sometimes. You just need those 3 points.
Free kick awarded to South Melbourne. They've got to go if they want to get something from this one. They led by a goal in this game, but of course their focus has been on Wednesday night. A heavily rotated team out there today as Souza punches it away, and he wins the free kick. So really for South Melbourne, despite this, edging ever closer to a defeat, and there it is. Heidelberg finally get themselves 3 points in NPL Victoria again. It's been almost 3 months that they've had to wait for an all-important victory. And now they can celebrate. Andrew Mezzaruni put South Melbourne in front during this second half. But Heidelberg, they battled back. Kane Razmovsky with a long-range strike to tie the scores before Christian Theoharis with a stunner in second half stoppage time to win the game for Heidelberg and get themselves back in the top 6 and taste the sweet elixir of victory once more in the league. Mark Ivkovic, wow, you can feel how much this means to Heidelberg going into the last round of the season.
Yeah, the weight will be lifted off their shoulders now. That's the most important 3 points of their season. Puts them in the box seat going into the final day, and then you wouldn't want to come up against this Heidelberg team in the finals series when it's a one-off game. But they deserve the 3 points today, Heidelberg. Besides that, probably 10 or 15 minutes in that first half where they didn't come out of the change rooms like they performed in the first 45 minutes, and South Melbourne took advantage of that. It was all Heidelberg, really. They created enough goal-scoring opportunities to win that game comfortably. It took Theoharis absolute screamer to win it for him in the end, but they won't care. Like I said at the start of the game, it's not about the performance, it's about the result. They've got the 3 points that they desperately needed, and like we've said, it's in their hands now.
Well, for South Melbourne, they obviously had an eye on Wednesday night against Preston in the Australia Cup, a heavily rotated team, not only from the first whistle, but throughout the game as well. They battled on gallantly in the second half to try and hold on, but ultimately it was Heidelberg with their experience stepping up when it mattered to get them over the line and get them a huge, huge win going into the final round of the season. Now they need to make sure of it on their home deck against Bentley next week. And South Melbourne, well, this loss all but locks in another matchup against Preston in elimination final, potentially at this very venue. But we'll wait and see how the dominoes fall on the final day. But it's Heidelberg who come away with the 3 points and find themselves back inside the top 6. Finally, the winless run is over. Final score here, South Melbourne 1, Heidelberg United 2.